Hey everybody, David Burns. You know, last week we had the opportunity to take a look at this first hive here and did an inspection. You guys loved that video, by the way. And notice I took my Apple Watch off. And today I'm going to look in this hive because several of you mentioned you didn't see any protein like pollen in there. And you're worried that the bees, you know, what's in the bottom box. And you were thinking, David, you should have looked in the bottom swarm cells or protein down there. What you going to find? So let me make a prophecy. I think that when we get down to that bottom deep, I don't think we're going to see any legitimate charged swarm cells, but I think we're going to see a little bit of bee bread, not a lot, some frames of pollen down there, because when bees go out foraging, they do bring in pollen, and a lot of times they put it in that first bottom deep down there. I like to see some up above because, you know, the nurse bees need it to feed young bees and all. But I think we're going to find most of it down below. So to put rumors at rest about what's going on in the bottom, let's just find out what's going on in the bottom. All right. We are having a heck of a time today. It's so hot outside. If you noticed here, we use a lot of different cameras. Patrick is great to film and he's filming. We've got my phone here. We've got the big camera back here, and all of them will overheat in this kind of weather. We film in 4K, and so 4K makes the cameras really hot. I know that may be boring to you, but we're just trying to film this. I've tried filming over here before in direct sun, and it's tough. So let's go ahead and get this hive opened up. I'm going to show you, I think what I'm going to do is try to, ooh, that top cover is hot. That is an old galvanized top cover, not aluminum. And what I'm going to try to do is maybe try to keep as much of this together as I can. All right, so let's get the brick off. I like this little plastic cart here to keeps me from having to take a super all the way to the ground if it's heavy or a deep box, and you don't have to lift it so far off the bottom. Oh, by the way, this is an older top cover. If you can see, galvanized, it's got the wood on there. And I don't use these much anymore, other than I just get desperate and I need, you know, making splits and all. Where's the top cover? Oh, I don't have any plastic top covers. We'll grab that old wooden one. And yeah, Patrick, look at this. If you look, you can see on the top, I've written stuff down there. You probably have to focus the camera to pick it up, but yeah, you can see here, like eggs, no, can't read that anymore. Didn't spot something.
No spot queen?
Oh, okay. Saw eggs, but didn't see the queen back in, what is that, July 9th of 2016, probably. Queenless, June 2nd, 2016. So 2016 was about 9 years ago, I think. Yeah, look at that. And you can see nails are coming out. And it doesn't mean this was brand new in 2016. This was probably built a decade before that. But anyway, I keep my notes sometimes on top of my top cover. But every time I open it, the wood is giving way. When I want to pry it up like this, watch the wood. Look at that wood. See that? I have to kind of nurse that without kind of breaking that piece of wood off. Yeah. That's why I love the plastic top covers. I know some people are anti-plastic. I get it. But for me, I kind of like that. All right, so we'll just do a little quick look. I think I'm going to set my top cover over here on the bench. Okay, that'll work. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we can look in here and make sure the queen isn't up in here. Hey, they're loud up there. So I am going to look at this middle frame. I usually start over here, but because this is new and they're not really have done much, I'm going to just pull this up. This is where the queen would likely come up in the middle somewhere and start laying in my super. And if she did, we would move her down back. I'd probably pick her up and run her into the bottom board entrance. Oh, look at that. They're already putting nectar in here. Well, I'm going to pop in here real quick and while we're inspecting this hive and let you know that on July the 17th, I've got a live stream coming up and I'm excited. We're going to have $1,000 worth of giveaways because it's going to be my 1,000th video that we're going to make during the live stream on July 17th. I'll leave a link right here and I'd love to see 1,000 viewers on the live stream at one time. So be sure and join me then. Let's use this J hook to pry that loose. There we go. Oh, all nectar. We have that benefit. If the bees can get up there and put nectar in there before the queen does, then the queen has no place to lay because she won't lay an egg in a pool of nectar, right? So that's what the race here is all about. It's a race to see if I can get my workers to put nectar up here before the queen decides to get up in here. That's why I don't use queen excluders. My game is let this first super become the queen excluder. The queen's not up here, so we're good there. We're going to take this off. We're going to take the next deep off. We're going to get down to the bottom. You guys are making me work hard on a hot day. Somebody on my B Team 6 said, I want to know what maybe why were they lacking protein and or pollen and what's going on in the bottom and everything. So we want to look down in there and see. I promised to make this video. All right, so if I was a stronger man, I would take off the deep and the super at the same time, but that's too heavy. I don't want to do that. I like my back a little bit better than that, okay? For those of you watching, maybe for the first time, I know some of you watch me that aren't beekeepers. That's cool, thank you. But if you look, what I like to do is put my hive tool right in between here, and I try not to damage. This is the part that gets damaged the most over time, but I want to smoke that bottom deep by opening it up just a little. See that sliding of the hive tool in there? I can get the bees calmed down before I take it off. But now I got to kind of wiggle it loose. It's propolis. Look up here at all this propolis. Do you see that? That stuff is sticky. It's like roofing tar. Woo! It's rough. And so that's what sticks the bees bring that in from plants and all, and that sticks their boxes together. It's their glue. It's their silicone. Bee silicone. All right, there we go. We got her loose. Boy, they're really foraging, Patrick. You stood in front of the hive and I heard them. They were like, you're in our way. We got something going on here. Okay, so I say we just take this off and we'll set it in the shade and get right down to business in the deep. So let's do the same thing with this next box. Smoke all these girls here and a few boys. And then we'll smoke the entrance. And then we'll try to work our hive tool in here. The hive tool has a real sharp wedge to it to help you get in there. Lift it and smoke. I said in a recent video, I think it was the one that I inspected this hive. Oh, no, maybe not. But I mentioned that I always like to have a few people show up every year and work a hive with me. And I asked you guys to email me. And wow, did you email me? I probably got at least close to 100 emails from you guys wanting to come and work some bees with me. And if you do, you're going to be picking up these heavy boxes. You may want to take your email back. Woo! All right, let's make sure this is stable. That's good. Ta-da, the bottom. All right, let's get back here out of the way of the bees. These frames down here, I think our queen might still be up in our other deep where she was working a few days ago. All right. I continue to think about whether I should wear gloves or not. And it's all about the hive. This hive so far, it's only stung me one time by an apple watch, so I'm going to trust that they're not very defensive. There's your good example of wonky comb. This is some of these frames I didn't really coat well with wax and they're older. I'll tell you what my mistake is so you don't make it. See this foundation here? It's old foundation in frames that I bought maybe 3 or 4 years ago never used them, kept them in a storage room, and they dry out. And when you have that, you're always going to get wonky comb. So don't buy frames that are waxed and not use them right away. That's my observation, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's work our way across. Now here we're really bending over. A tall person like me, I'm having to bend over. That's heavy frame. Wow, got a lot of honey on it. Oh yeah, capped over honey too. No swarm cells, capped over honey, no protein. We're looking for protein. Okay. Honey, nectar, don't see any protein here. No brood. Not uncommon, we're close to the wall. I don't want to have to do a lot of frame manipulation, so I'm going to put this one right there where it should be at the end of the inspection. That way we can just put our frame back over there. So, keep track of how often. That bee was a little irritated, so let me smoke my hands. Somebody said if you smoke your hands, it'll keep bees from stinging you. I doubt it, but I've learned to listen to people too, and it works out sometimes. Slow motion. Yeah. All right, let me just look at it here by myself. Eggs, larvae, pupae, frames, no protein. I don't know if you can see that, Patrick. Yep. Over here, solid honey capped over, except at the bottom. Yeah, let's smoke often. Smoke often. If you start getting bees around your head, like I've got 1 or 2 around my face, you need to smoke often. Those bees will actually get more bees to swarm around your face and find places to sting you. A little slower pulling that up. We got a lot of Japanese beetles around here. All right, let me look for resources. Okay, this is another frame of brood. No swarm cells. Larvae, eggs, capped over pupae, no protein visible. And the question is, same on this side. If you don't see anything at all in protein-wise, how are the bees doing it? Well, let's think about bee biology. All honey or nectar bees gather, it does have trace amounts of protein in it. It has the pollen grains in the nectar they're bringing back. So when they consume the nectar they're bringing back, there is protein in the nectar or the honey they're consuming. But yeah, you want to see more than we're seeing. So right now there's things that are blooming, but a lot of things that are blooming aren't real pollen producers. You know, not like dandelions are. I don't think my clover just makes a ton of pollen form. This queen loves to lay, doesn't she? So, I know some of you are probably thinking, man, your hive is like brood bound. No swarm cells though. Oh, we got a little bit of pollen, some yellow in there, and a cell or two. Nothing to kind of write home about, but I see a little bit of stored pollen in there finally.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm picking it up.
Yeah. Bare-armed and bare-handed. Man. The bad thing about working bare-handed and, you know, bare-armed in this case is we have the hive torn all apart. So if all at once they become very defensive, then I would retreat, leave it open, and I would put my bee suit on and my gloves and come back and put it together. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest trying to get it back together, you know, without the protective gear that you need right now. You can see they're not really that annoyed at me yet. So we're going to just see how it plays out. Swarm cells protein. That's what this inspection is about. I don't have small hive beetle this year. Oh, there we go. Let's swap places, Patrick. I'll get the sun on it and you can get... I got some protein in there, some bee bread. I knew we would find that. It's the 5th frame over from the wall. A lot of good stored resources. Bees aren't stupid. They know how to pack the pantry. Isn't that impressive? See the other side here. Yeah,
you can see the nectar falling out. When
oh, yeah. All right, that satisfies a lot of things right there. We're going to look at one more. Look at all the foraging, Pat. Did you get that?
Yeah, they were in my ear when I was over here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. They're coming in behind you. They're kind of coming in from the northwest. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's look at one more. So we satisfied they're not swarming, no swarm cells down here. And we're satisfied we saw a good frame of protein. There's one bee around my face, and she is just saying, hurry it up, David. If you don't hurry, I'm going to get a whole bunch of other friends to tell you to hurry faster. The brood is outrageous, isn't it? No protein on that frame. No swarm cells, though. There's more eggs, larvae, brood. And this frame is eggs, larvae, brood. I'm seeing that in all of my hives. Not a lot of stored protein right now, a little bit. That's where they're at. Oh, well, we might have to do one more. I'm going to take my chances here. Because you might get more protein as we get further off the middle here. Let's try that. That smoker's working good, isn't it? Yeah. My eyes are burning from either the sweat or the smoke. I want to show you something about the next frame coming up. Not this one, but the one after. This black plastic frame. We've got to talk about that. So stay tuned because I'm going to pull that up in just a second and show you. All right, let's see what this is all about. Boy, this is a layer. This queen lays brood like a machine gun. Okay, honey, nectar, a little bit of brood. Okay, here we do have protein. We have, I don't know if you can get a good shot of it, but we have some clover colored type protein, some yellow, some bee bread. If you can't see it in the picture, you'll have to trust me. All right, now let's look at the next frame. I want to talk about these. I used to only use black plastic, all one-piece foundation. And I bought a bunch of it, and it took me a while to get rid of it. It did not work out well for me. The whole one-piece plastic, that was back in the day. It was a long time ago when it first came out. But I want to show you what happens to it, okay? Let me just show you. There's a lot of wonky comb that happens on plastic one-frame piece frames like this. All right, let's look at your side first. See that? Maybe I could have coated it heavier. I didn't know that 20 years ago. But look how wonky it is on this side too. Look at that. And there's nothing much on here. And I'm going to keep track. I may come in here and just take this out and replace it one day. Right now we're going to leave it. All right, we have one frame to put back in the hive. Thanks for watching this far into the inspection. So I'm going to slip around here. All right. So I want to smoke a lot of bees on this side of the hive. I want to kind of move this frame here to allow space for my next frame. And that means I'm going to tighten all of that up by just twisting my hive tool. I don't think enough is taught in bee school or bee classes about manipulating and the use of your hive tool to manipulate frames. I mean, this is your tool. You know, if you were a carpenter, this is your hammer. If you're an electrician, this would be what, Patrick?
Your hammer. Screwdriver.
I think those little tools, strippers.
Strippers?
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take the frame, the first frame we took out. It kind of had a little wonky comb on it. We're going to slip that right in here. And if it's a heavy frame, you can let go of it and it will kind of slide down on its own. Make sure bees aren't in the way. All right, now we just have to put the hive back together, but don't turn the video off, because putting the hive back together, you know, you got to do that right. All right, so let's go ahead and space it out good. Get a little space over here. These are pretty tight. It's about as good as it gets. Now, look at the top of this deep right here. Wow. There's a lot of bees right there doing their daily activities. And this is a heavy box, and it's stuck to the super below it. We have to first unstick it and then put it on the first deep down there. So what I'll do first is just smoke underneath the bottom here. And I think I'm going to leave those bees. I'm going to smoke just a hair up here. I don't want to run them down to the bottom because I don't want them to get outside the box. Make sure your edges are kind of free. Like there's a bee there on the edge. Smoke them away from the edges. You can't always prevent smashing a bee, but you want to try, okay? All right, let's see if we can free this up. Oh yeah. Everybody says, every time I lift, they tell me to lift differently. Some people say, oh, you did it wrong. Lift with that, lift with this. Oh. Wow, that was so heavy. Oh. That was so heavy. Let me square it up. I want to teach you guys how to square a hive up. Ready? You put your hands opposite. One hand goes in this corner, way over here to this corner. And if you square these two up, the other two square up. Whew. All right, let's get this super on there. It's going to be a lot lighter than that box. Woo! I'm just happy at 65 I can still brutalize my body without hurting. My dad was that way. He was a tough old bird, boy. He could outwork 30-year-olds. He was proud of it too. You never wanted to challenge my dad to anything. Don't challenge him. Don't challenge him for push-ups, concrete, laying, nothing. He'll whoop you. He was a big bull to the day he died. All right. I had a great relationship with my dad. Had great respect for him. All right. Well, I think we're done. We're going to put that top cover on. Whew, I'm ready to get in out of the sun. I'm sweating. So guys, I want to show you the video that I made where we first inspected this hive. It was a very popular video a few days ago here on YouTube. And it will help you learn a lot of techniques about beekeeping, inspecting a hive. And I want you to take a look at the video if you haven't seen it. See you guys over here.